Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome into the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, May 16th, 2016. I am Dave Biddle, joined by the one and only Duane Long. Duane, let's talk about the departures of Grant Schmidt and Kareem Felder. I shouldn't say the departure of Kareem Felder. He didn't qualify academically, whereas Grant Schmidt, who would have been a redshirt freshman offensive lineman this fall, he is transferring. I think the coaching staff knew for a while that Kareem Felder was probably a long shot to qualify. I know our staff, we knew that he was a long shot, and we had hinted about that on the message board many times. From a football standpoint, Duane, I don't think this is much of a loss at all for the 2016 Buckeyes. Just talk about your reaction to Grant Schmidt transferring and Kareem Felder not making the grade.
Well, there were three linemen, offensive line. You never, during all the Jim Tressel era with Jim Bowman, you never thought that we'd be in a situation where we had too many linemen, too many offensive linemen, and here we are in a situation where we've got guys that we've got a surplus. He was a guy, when you offensive linemen in particular, they have a high washout rate to begin with, and then you're looking at level of competition. They come in, and all of a sudden, the guy on the other side of the line is not only almost his size, but a lot quicker. And I think it's just a hard adjustment, jumping from small school. How many guys did Schmidt play against in high school that were even his size, let alone had any kind of talent? And I think it was a bit much, and there's a lot of talent at Ohio State. I'm not actually surprised at this. He had injury problems. It just seemed like this was not destined to be for him. And so I'm not surprised. I wish him all the luck in the world. He goes somewhere where he can play, actually enjoy playing college football, and the Buckeyes get a scholarship. I'm a firm believer in coaches sitting down and just telling the guy, man, you can't play here. We thought you might. You had some athleticism. We brought you in. We took a look for a year, and you're just not cut out for this level. Go somewhere and play football. I don't know why that has to be such a bad thing. So Grant Schmidt's moving on, and I think that everybody's a win-win. He gets to go play football. We get a scholarship for somebody who can play at this level.
And Kareem Felder, your reaction to that as well. This is a young man that was ranked extremely low, 3-star prospect, but almost teetering on the brink of being a 2-star. I almost forgot how low he was ranked. I posted about this over the board. Kareem Felder was ranked as the number 75 corner and the number 808 overall prospect in the country in the 2016 class. But I guarantee you Ohio State's coaching staff didn't think there was 108 or 107 players in the country better than Kareem Felder. From a football standpoint, let's say he never comes to Ohio State. Now, best case scenario, he's going to go to prep school. He might go to JUCO. We've seen many times Corey Smith, Cardale Jones, even Eddie George. We've seen like a lot of guys go the prep school route or even JUCO and work their way back to Ohio State. But let's say he never makes it to Ohio State, Duane. His tape looks really good, but his ranking's not very good. How much of a loss would it be for the Buckeyes if Kareem Felder never makes his way to Columbus?
Well, we look at what Urban Meyer's doing here. He's stacking talent. And guys want to leave, go ahead and leave. Guys not getting it done, guy could just go. That's what you do. Next. We've heard that before in association with Urban Meyer, going back to who knows how far, in the beginning of his coaching career. Felder was a guy, I liked his film. I assume the Buckeyes did, they brought him in. But we always had this thing, Dave. We really don't need to bring Felder up in the discussion about this new term process. He was always a guy that this could happen with. I think that has something to do with his rating. I have a feeling that everyone just stopped paying attention to him because this guy's not going to make it. There's just no way that a player ranked that low, especially if you look at his film. He didn't get an Ohio State offer, but he did. And I think it really goes back to we're looking at a guy who probably did not have the academics to get into an Ohio State. I don't know if he's going to make it back. We'll see. I'm sure they're going to keep track of him. They're going to keep talking to him. We'll see what happens. You look at how highly Ohio State, how many great cornerbacks in this next class Ohio State's high on their list. He may not rate with those guys, and everybody, again, goes back to a win-win. You can't play here based on what we've got now. Go somewhere else to play football. We'll see. Felder still goes back in Felder's lap. Get your grades together, man. We're talking, this is serious. This is big boy stuff. You know, it isn't going home to mommy and daddy and then slapping you on the wrist for not getting your grades. You don't get scholarships when you don't get your grades. That's where we are now. So, you know, Felder, in the end, it comes back to decisions he made, not taking his academics seriously. And this is going to happen, you know, because we're in a scholarship crunch, got so many great players that could come in this class, especially in the defensive backfield. And, you know, that word keeps coming up. You hear it in the background. Process. No, he wasn't. Felder just did not have the grades. I don't think it's going to have an impact on the football field. He was not in the mix to play this fall. He was surely going to redshirt. So, you know, we don't know where Felder was going to. We can't really say. So I don't think it's something that we can throw in there and say we missed here. We're going to miss this guy, or I just don't think we can go there yet. So, and the process, Dave, why would they process a guy that they've never seen on a football field at this level? Come on, that doesn't make sense. Kid didn't have his grades. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's that simple with Kareem Felder. You're absolutely right. It was all about grades. I mean, they have, even if they weren't sold on him as a player after signing him, which I'm sure they are sold on him as a player, since nothing has changed since signing day as far as him as a player. I don't believe he's played in any tackle football games since then. Obviously, this is a academic situation, and even if they, as I said, even if they for some reason soured on him, they still have room. It's not like they're, especially with Schmidt leaving, they're now under the scholarship limit. They now have 84 scholarships. There's no way Kareem Felder was processed. Now, some people might think Grant Schmidt was, but I think this is just a kid that wanted to play somewhere else. Let's turn our attention, though, to, you know, I don't think Grant Schmidt was cut, but let's say that he was. What is your take about cutting scholarship football players? Is cutting players just a part of big boy college football? If one or two players get cut a year, are you okay with that? Is this just how it is in big boy college football?
That's the way it is. I absolutely believe this. I think there should be absolute rules set up to where a school can say, okay, these guys aren't getting it done. We're not going to take the scholarships away, but they're not going to count against us. They will not be in a football uniform for us. They're not going to be at practice. They're going on and complete their academics. If they choose to transfer, they can transfer and still play. They should be able to transfer right away and play if the school says we're done with them. But it's just reality. You know, I think it's absolutely silly. I think this thing about coddling these guys and you know, who are not working hard enough, or just, you know, you took a chance on a kid. He can't play at this level, and he doesn't want to accept the reality of that and move on to another school. You should have the option of saying, you know, we're setting this guy aside here. He's not. We gave him a chance. And think about that. How many of these guys? Look at Grant Schmidt coming out of the Black Hills supposedly. He's out in the middle of nowhere, not playing against other big people. We don't know. We gave him a shot. It didn't work out. Let him move on. He should want to move on. I don't understand just wanting to go and sit on a bench. I just don't see a competitor wanting to do that. We should have a thing in college football where a number, it's something that can be discussed, how many guys you can say, okay, we're honoring their scholarships, but they're not part of our football team. They're not the 85 limit. And even as far as being a part of the football team, you can have them on the sideline. They can be part, but they don't practice. They don't participate. They don't. They're just not part of the program in a football sense. In a spiritual sense, well, yeah, let them be part of the team still. but they're guys that don't count against the 85. 85, if we go back to the 105 limit, that would be another thing. There's just not enough scholarships. It really is not, when you're talking about injuries, transfers, guys that just don't understand working hard enough to play at this level. 85 is really low end, and I think we need to do something about that. I think we need to address it. This is embarrassing what we're doing, Dave, that all these schools are lying, manipulating, all this kind of stuff to get under 85 but not have dead weight on the rosters. Let's just be upfront and honest about it. Let's just say this many guys don't count against our 85 every year. I think that's a good thing for college football, or let's go back to 105 limit. Either one works for me.
Yeah, we live in a sports world where it's okay to cut fifth graders from their travel baseball team in the summer, cut a middle school kid from his basketball team. Now, I understand those kids are not being recruited. That's always the argument. But if a kid is being recruited to a college or was recruited, he's on scholarship, he isn't getting the job done, he isn't fulfilling his obligations, how is that any different than a kid who goes to school on an academic scholarship and then gets that pulled after a year or two? Because the way academic scholarships work, if you don't maintain a certain GPA, they pull that academic scholarship. So I see nothing different with college football, and I hear people crying about, how are you going to cut kids? Now, there is a fine line. If you're pulling the rug out from kids, like 5 to 10 kids per year so you can oversign and just keep signing kids and you're really misleading kids, that's different. But as you and I were talking about, we're talking about maybe 1 or 2 kids per year. They're not living up to their end of the bargain. I have absolutely no trouble with 1 or 2 kids per year getting cut from big boy college football. I think you and I are in lockstep on that. Before I let you go, speaking of guys leaving Ohio State, Daniel Giddens from the basketball program. Duane, we've known for a while that he was leaving. Now we know where he is leaving to. It was announced yesterday on his Twitter feed. He is transferring to Alabama. He's a young man from Georgia. I think this is a good get for Alabama. I know Ohio State fans will kind of poo-poo Daniel Giddens and say he wasn't very good. I think he's going to grow into a very good player down there. His stats at Ohio State, 3.8 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 1.5 blocks. Very bad free throw shooter. He makes Shaq look like a good free throw shooter. But after sitting out a year, I think he's going to be a good player for Bama. Pretty nice get for them.
Well, we'll see. Right now, what I see is a guy who wants to be the man, and he's not the man. He might be down the road, but right now he's not. So he stayed at Ohio State. He would have developed here. Well, I don't understand what's going to happen at Alabama that couldn't happen here at Ohio State. I just, this seems like a kid who's a legend in his own mind. So I do actually wish him all the best. I'm just not. I don't know how you can have a team when you got a guy that's me, and that's what he appears to be. Is he wants to be the man. He was getting playing time here. He was coming along. He was getting more playing time as the year rolled on. And I just don't understand his thinking, except he believes he's a star. He's a guy that has NBA written all over him, but he's the one that did the writing on himself. I'm just not that worried about him. I do wish him, young guys make mistakes. Okay, good. Go on and have a good career, but I think he made a mistake. I don't know what SEC program outside of Kentucky is better than half the teams in the Big Ten. I just don't get what his thinking was on this. We'll see. I don't think he's going to be a star, and he may be a good college basketball player in time. We'll see. I'm not that worried about Daniel Giddens. I'm worried about what Thad's going to replace him with. And it looks like there's a few players in Ohio nail down a few of these guys that may have got passed on in years past. Like the Wesson kid, the second brother that was offered. I don't know if he's a great player. I don't try to evaluate basketball talent. I'm saying that it seems like those kind of players got passed on in years going by, and turned out to be good players elsewhere. Let's take a few of those guys and try to regroup here and get the basketball team turned around. I'm
with you. I like Andre Wesson too. Everybody knows about Caleb Wesson, of course. younger brother, but taller and bigger brother. But I like Andre Wesson. He's a guy that really, these guys who prove it on the court, I don't care what their ranking is, I think he's going to be a guy. I agree with you. If Andre Wesson would have went elsewhere, everybody would have been like, how did Dad miss out on this kid from his own backyard? And you make a good point about Daniel Giddens, too. From a basketball perspective, it really doesn't make much sense why he would leave Ohio State and go to Alabama, which is, has hardly any basketball tradition at all, unless he just wanted to be closer to home, or he's a huge Avery Johnson fan who is now the head coach at Alabama. I really can't figure out anything else. But great stuff as always out of Duane Long. I really appreciate you joining me, Duane. Thank you for your insights, and thank you to the listeners out there for tuning into the show. Hope everyone has a great day. Let's hear some Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.